Before going into the topic details, I want to bring your attention to the UPSC coaching programs offered by ClearIAS. ClearIAS offers online and offline courses to help candidates get selected for prestigious government services like IAS, IPS, or IFS. ClearIAS, Prelims Cum Mains, PCM course, provides a highly effective study plan, well-organized subject-wise videos, study materials, mock exams, and guidance to cover the entire GS syllabus of UPSC CSE prelims, mains, and interview systematically. As a limited period offer, there is a 40% discount on our online courses. Enroll now.
We'll understand what actually recently happened. It is the 6th summit of the Quad. So it actually happened in the USA actually recently. So we'll understand what is actually the Quad basically and what are the highlights of the Quad summit. So the Quad is actually all about the, Asian diplomacy, we can say. Asian diplomacy, or we can say there is one another word which was actually used by, I guess, Barack Obama when he was actually the US president. That time the concept was pivot to Asia. That is, 20th century has gone. Now we are in the 21st century, and 21st century ultimately belongs to Asia. And what is actually Asia? When we talk about Asia, it is basically China and India. First China, then comes India. That is the current reality. But we want to overcome China. So according to the pivot to Asia theory, that everyone is actually looking to Asia in the 21st century, the US and definitely the other Western countries also want to reap maximum benefits. They want to be partner with us. And it is one of the reasons why US is actually leading this particular group, which India is also there, and China is not there. So there is another reason why, because they want to counter China also. So India is actually getting the help of such Western countries to counter China, and it is one of the examples. The Quad is one of the examples of that countering China policies, right? So you can use these kind of words, these kind of concepts also in your answers. And when we have to understand that, there is a lot of China theories among the Western countries, of course. And China also, when the Quad was finally getting formalized, they condemned it. They said that, okay, we know that this Quad is actually against us. So we actually practically condemned it. So then the Quad countries, including India, Australia, etc., they said that, okay, we are not against China. We are only a formal grouping. We are focused on Asia Pacific region. Of course, we are not countering. Ultimately, the reality is that also. So it ultimately started in 2007. The concept actually started in 2007 actually. Then it was melted down. And then again, when the Trump actually became the president of USA again, then again Quad was reinvigorated. Then 2017, they had their summit. So from 2007, when it actually, the concept started, between 2017, nothing was happening. So from 2017, again, the Quad concept was reinvigorated. And it was actually the Prime Minister of Japan, Mr. Shinzo Abe. He was actually assassinated. Do you know the story? You can simply search YouTube, and he was later onwards, he was actually assassinated after he passed on from the the prime ministership of Japan. Another prime minister came. Then he was actually campaigning for some election thing and all. He was actually assassinated in the public. So that guy Shinzo Abe, he was a good man, widely regarded as a good man, and he was also he took the initiative for the Quad, we can say. He was one of the master brains behind the Quad. So who are the members here? This is actually the members are basically, you can see that it is actually Australia is there. Our Indian Prime Minister is there, US President is there, and then Japanese Prime Minister is also there. So Australia, Japan, India, and US. These are the Quad members. A lot of initiatives are also there. And in 2017, we have to also remember that there was a naval exercise which was conducted in the the Pacific region and all. Again, China said that, okay, you are showing their military might, you are showing that you are against China. We said that, okay, it is already happening. We are already conducting these kind of experiments and military exercises. So this is not against you. So we definitely had a show of power in 2017, of course, the Quad nations. So we'll understand what are the highlights of the 6th summit that actually happened recently in Delaware. Delaware is a place in the US. Just like I said, it was actually supposed to happen in India, the 6th summit, but because of certain kinds of issues, they are broadly saying that because of certain reports, they're saying that there was an assassination attempt in the US, which has some Indian intelligence agencies roles, something like that. So there is some clash between the US agencies and Indian agencies. So then the President Biden of US, he canceled visit to India. Certain kinds of conspiracy theories, everything is there. So that is because why the 6th summit was actually transferred from US to India to US. So it finally happened in the US, and we'll understand what are the highlights of the Quad summit. The first thing is actually about the security, health security partnership. So this is dealing with the health security. It's a logical thing what it is actually. It was launched in 2023 and basically for the health coordination in the Indo-Pacific region. So whatever the Quad is doing, it is actually focusing on the Indo-Pacific region. That is a focus point. Indo-Pacific, whenever you write the answer, make sure that you write the word Indo-Pacific in any international relations answers whenever required. Not just write the Chinese region or the South China region or the Pacific Ocean region or the Asia, etc. Make sure you write the word Indo-Pacific. That actually belongs to the Asian as well as the Pacific region. Or you can say the South or the East Asian region. That is the point which they are referring. It's a very important international relations term. So it was actually launched in 2023, the Quad Health Security Partnership. And it is actually basically health security coordination. And they are actually aiming for better pandemic preparedness. It is actually an indirect dig at China, right? So COVID actually originated in China. And then the US president was actually criticizing it to be a Wuhan virus or China virus, etc. So they are saying is that we are Quad, we are actually focusing on the health preparedness. And again, if some pandemic happens, we'll be prepared. And it is actually focused on Indo-Pacific. Indirectly, they are saying is that if again some virus comes from China, we'll be better prepared. That is what they're indirectly saying. So, and the next thing is actually about the Maitri. So what is Maitri? So Maitri is actually about maritime initiative for training in the Indo-Pacific. You know, the basic concept is, what do you say, the disaster response. It is a tsunami infected region. So if there is actually a huge disaster management, Japan, of course, is actually a huge earthquake vulnerable region, tsunami vulnerable region. And when we look at the map of the Pacific Ocean, the two ends of the Pacific Ocean, for example, if this is Asia, this is actually Australia, this is actually Asia, this is the North America, and this is the South America. Just imagine this region is actually earthquake prone. All these regions are earthquake prone regions. So whenever there is earthquake in these regions, there is actually huge possibilities of tsunamis going. And if suppose India is actually here, the last time when that earthquake happened near Indonesia, the tsunami came from this Indonesian region to India. So all these regions are heavily vulnerable to different disasters. So they are focusing on, under the Maitri scheme, they are focusing on rapid disaster response and not just the official response, they are focusing on civilian response also. They want to train people so that whenever there is a tsunami warning or some kind of warning, they can respond adequately. So civilian training is what the Maitri project is actually focusing on. And the next thing is actually about the, quality of infrastructure development. So they also want to focus on certain kinds of public infrastructure, which just like that quality infrastructure is that they are looking for. And under that, they are focusing on digital public infrastructures. So then comes the next question. What is a digital public infrastructure? So it ultimately says that it is a set of systems, digital systems, of course, that help countries provide their services to their citizens. Right. So they help countries provide services to and economic opportunities to the citizens. For example, if we want to apply for passport, if we want to get some kind of village office, some kind of documents from the village office, or if we want to apply or some complaint to the chief minister's office, for whatever thing it is, we are now relying on digital, certain kind of applications, etc. Like Umang app is there, my government app is actually there. So a lot of different applications are there. All these things are digital public infrastructures. And why Quad is focusing on them? Because actually one other reason is China. So China definitely has a lot of hackers. You know that all these countries are hacking each other's prime minister's office, different ministers' office, etc. So they are focusing on digital public infrastructure to be secure. So not just the civilian network, definitely their core, secure network also has to be properly maintained. So this is the digital public infrastructure, the systems in which used to provide services to the citizens. It has to be properly maintained. And why the digital public infrastructure is so important, just like the roads and rail, that is how the document is saying, just like how the roads and railways and all the things are used to connect people with other places, it is the digital public infrastructure which will be connecting all the citizens with the government in the future. So it is actually a connectivity project, virtual connectivity project. And it definitely connects people, data, and a lot of money flow will also be going here and there. So that is why it is actually extremely important. That is what they are saying. And Quad is actually focusing on two different things. One is all the documents, they are focusing on digital public infrastructure. So we'll just give you an idea about the different principles by Quad for digital public infrastructure. All these words are logical. First thing is that inclusivity. That is, nobody should be left out. Every citizens, every people, everyone should be on board. They should be given all the different kinds of services. There should not be any kind of barriers. No algorithm bias should be there. No algo bias should be there. That is, if you're actually using certain kind of networks, I'll give you a brief example. If you're using Instagram, if you're using an iPhone, it is normally said that uploading a reel or a post or a story, etc., like that is actually more faster. It's actually faster. If you're using any other like an Android phone, it is actually slightly slower. Have you ever seen noticed that there is something like that? So there are certain algorithms which are actually used in the digital infrastructure field, which actually helps certain kind of facilities, certain kind of devices, certain kind of applications, etc. But some other facilities will be slightly slow, slightly inaccessible. So we are actually saying, the Quad says that it should be all inclusive. There should not be anyone left out, and there should not be any algorithm based, and there should not be any barriers. All barriers should be eliminated so that everyone should access the services equally. You should also remember the point, that is net neutrality. Net neutrality was a very huge topic, at least 4 years back. It was widely in the newspapers. We were continuously discussing about that. Now it is not seen in the news recently. It simply means the very same thing. If you are that all the Amazon, all the Google, they all came together for these kind of things. We were saying we need net neutrality. They were saying that certain kind of applications will be faster. That is, their own things will be faster, but if we want to go for certain other searching and other things, that will be slower. But so which means that their services will be fastly available, quickly available, it will be more accessible, but certain other things will be suppressed. So if I'm starting a new website, it may not be accessible to the other people, just like in other important things. So that is why we demanded that net neutrality has to be there. So it was a wide topic. So this, just like that, inclusivity is one of the important pillars. Next, this is very important when we are dealing with science and technology, third paper. If they can ask about net neutrality or something like this, you can use these kind of principles. You can again mention that it is Quad principles, so that it will give extra marks to you. Then collaborations. What do you mean by collaboration? This simply means that there all the innovations, new and new people are coming, entrepreneurial ventures are coming, new people are actually creating applications, etc. All these people have to be properly collaborated. It is not only just official digital public infrastructure. All the people, all the innovators have to be collaborated. Then only we can have better infrastructure, digital infrastructure. That is what they are saying. The next thing is about the modularity and extensibility. What they are talking about modularity is that if this is actually a large project, it has to be subdivided. Certain modules will be there. So if this module is damaged, if you want to replace that particular section, you just replace it, and then other section will actually come in place. So it has to be module. Every kinds of digital architecture should be module based, so that one part is damaged, replace it. What if you are not having modules? If one application is damaged, remove the entire application, then bring another application. That is difficult. Instead of that, build it part by part. That is what they are actually saying. Modularity, that means a modular architecture so that it can accommodate changes easily. The second last thing is actually about the scalability. It is actually should be scalable. Scalable means that we study the word scalable initially in our school standard when we are studying computer networks. For example, if I have a network, if I have two computers in the network, one I am using in the first floor, one I am using in the ground floor. Just imagine like that. If I buy a third laptop or third computer, I should be able to switch it to the network easily so that I can use it from the third floor. So that is what we are understanding as scalability. That is, it is actually expandable easily. So that is actually scalability. That is, it should be easily accommodative. It should be easily expandable when there is a sudden increase in demand. Easily expandable, easily accommodative. And last but not the least, the very common word, that is sustainability. That is, it should be having an adequate financial and technical support so that it should be a long-term project. All the digital public infrastructure, all the applications, it should be a very long-term measure, not a short-term measure. That is what the Quad principles of digital public infrastructure is actually talking about. And this is I just told you, under the Quad Summit, two important things happened. One thing is actually about the digital public infrastructure. The second thing was actually about the Cancer Moonlight Initiative. The Cancer Moonlight Initiative, that also happened under the Quad 6 Summit. It basically, you understand what it is actually all about, focusing on the Indo-Pacific region. what they are actually focusing on the cancer care ecosystem. They are actually focusing on the cancer care because a lot of people are actually infected by this cancer, but still not getting availing proper treatment and diagnosis and all the things. So they want to focus on the Indo-Pacific and the people affected by the cancer. Right. And they're also focusing on one particular vaccine that is known as the human papilloma virus vaccine. That virus is actually one of the reasons for cervical cancers. So to fight against the HPV virus, which actually causes, which is also one of the reasons for cervical cancer, they actually want to focus or promote the HPV vaccine or the human papilloma virus vaccine. So this all coming under the cancer moonlight initiative of the court. So statements can be created. Who is actually the implementing agency or who is releasing this cancer moonlight program? It is Quad. Multiple agencies are there. Shanghai Cooperation Organization, Quad is there. The ASEAN members are there. There are multiple ventures. India is also a partner. UN can release this thing. So there are many agencies, in the question paper which can be asked, but it is actually the Quad which is releasing, focusing on cancer and HPV vaccine. And this HPV is actually one of the reasons for cervical cancer. That is the important point. So this is the topic about Quad actually, the 6th summit of Quad. So, okay, I'm just give you the map of, what the countries are. There is actually India, Australia is there, Japan is there, and USA. That is why they are calling it a Quad. So this is the actual Asia Pacific. They are actually focusing on this entire region, but they are definitely focusing on the extended part of China also, right?